Oh, that's a serious packet.
They're not usually that.
They're live.
That's why I keep
We're
it
live.
digital.
Okay, y'all ready to go? Mr. Thompson, you hear me? Okay. Work sessions are an opportunity for board members to discuss issues informally with staff and invited guests. The board encourages members of the public to attend work sessions and listen to the discussion, but there's generally no opportunity for public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the board are welcome to do so during the board's regularly scheduled meetings. First is the discussion of the formal agenda. Any questions on tonight's agenda? Nope.
No.
See any? And then going forward through March, do we have any questions on any of the work sessions, business items going forward, public hearings? Nothing? Nope. None?
No.
Okay. Go ahead and move on to our first item, the Industrial Revolving Fund Request, CO2 Recapture Project, Fort George, on page 4, County Manager.
Chair Quayla, members of the board, good evening. It's been a while since we've met in person, so good to see everybody. Just as a little bit of background, the Industrial Development Revolving Fund was established by the board back in 2000. The fund deposits the proceeds from the sale of lease of industrial properties. Then the funds are then restricted by statute, but they can be used for engineering, improvement, rehabilitation, construction, operation, or maintenance of various activities. One of those activities is food processing, which, as you know, we just finished the economic opportunities analysis. And one of the sectors that the county is interested in seeing grow, or at least be retained, is the food processing sector. And one of the elements of the food processing sector is the breweries. We have made 2 other contributions to projects that have been requested. The first, as you might remember, was to the port for the airport industrial park. Some of the preliminary planning that needed to be done with the industrial park. The second one was with Warrenton Fiber to help contribute to work that was being done on their infrastructure out at Warrenton. And so this is a third request that we've received, and it's from Fort George. And Chris is here to talk a little bit about it, but I will just give a brief overview. I mean, Chris and I were at an event for Business Oregon Commission, and we started talking about, one of the challenges they have with CO2, which is a critical element of their brewing process, because I've learned that beer can't be exposed to air. And so it's an industry-wide challenge. And so like all things, Fort George is always very creative about how they address challenges. And this is another one of those instances that they would be leading the way within Oregon. So I'll let Chris explain kind of where we are and what the challenge is, and then he's available to answer any of your questions.
So over the course of the last few years, we've been in a situation where we were on allocation for purchasing bulk CO2. So all of our processes in the brewery past the beer being done fermented require us to use pressurized CO2 or nitrogen to move the beer, because it can't touch oxygen. If it touches oxygen, it starts to degrade, starts to go bad. So we've already kind of had to figure out some new systems to put in place. We put in a nitrogen generator so that we can start using some nitrogen for some processes, but you just can't use nitrogen for everything. There's just, every time a refinery, a coal-fired power plant, or ethanol facility goes offline, that's just one less source for CO2. And what's happening is the sources are going down, and the the consumption is going up for CO2. And so we've had friends in the industry in Oregon that have had to just shut down operations. And I just think it's one of the biggest threats we have right now. Astoria's got tons of water. It's this great renewable resource for making beer. I think we can continue to make beer here for a long time. If we've got all the other ingredients feel very stable. But without CO2, we're done. We have 140 employees and we want to be able to continue to grow and keep doing what we're doing. So we want to put in the system as we make worts, the German term for unfermented beer. We ferment it. It becomes beer. Throughout the fermentation process, we can make CO2. Right now, we just off gas it into the environment. So what we want to do is recapture that, compress it, put it back into a tank, and then use that CO2. And I believe we can get completely independent of CO2 purchases by the end of the year. Be the first brewery in Oregon to ever do so, and then show how we did it. There's a brewery down in California, Russian River Brewing Company, just installed one. We're friends and they're totally open with their knowledge on it. And it's been really successful. And so we basically want to do the same system that they've done. And they're actually making so much CO2 out of the production facility that they're able to send CO2 over to their tap room, which is miles away. So I think we will be able to do that and potentially make even a little bit more CO2 so that some bars and restaurants could buy small canisters of CO2 from us. I think it'll be really cool, and I think it'll be a big benefit in Clatsop County. And we'll totally be happy to show other brewers how we did it so that they can do it. Because I think after this year, there's 6 refineries in California that are shutting down this year. And I just think that it's going to continue to get much, much worse for CO2.
And if I might share just a little bit more background, your board did approve an enterprise zone for the waterfront facility, which is Fort George's main brewing facility. And obviously the enterprise zone was approved with some expectation regarding job growth and actual compensation, with which Fort George is compliant with all those requirements. And as we all know, and as Chair Creel testified just yesterday, the economic development challenges here are extreme, and we have to take care of those businesses that are already contributing with jobs and with AV to our communities. And I think this is one of those examples of helping one of those businesses remain sustainable, but also grow eventually. But there's threats out there almost with every industry. Seafood industry feels threats, and I just think part of what we're trying to do is make it so the ones we do have survive, can hopefully grow, but then also be more creative about what else, because we don't have the same flexibility that a lot of other communities have.
Yeah.
So.
No, thank you, Don, and thank you, Chris. I mean, it's intriguing, fascinating. Trying to wrap my head around how it worked. Maybe Commissioner Webb can provide some insight on the process. Commissioner Webb.
Thank you, Chair Quayla. I'd like to speak on behalf of this as the representative for District 3. I can tell you that Fort George is one of the finest employers and citizens in the city of Astoria. They have an incredible retention rate for employees, and I think those of us who are customers understand that. Their growth in the past 10 years has been phenomenal. They're incredibly creative. A little bit more than a year ago, Commissioner Thompson and I when we went to the Association of Oregon Counties annual conference, we had a big display at our conference table about different items from Fort George, and it was phenomenal how creative some of their products are. I think I told you, Chris, that the biggest seller, we weren't selling, of course, but the biggest consumption at our table was actually hops water. Is that Chris, am I saying that right? But it was unbelievable. Um, I mean, it was just incredible that people were so, everybody, one of the things I think that is, the other thing that for me is so incredible is that, is that Fort George opens up their various facilities, their main hub, is very popular, incredibly popular. How many seats do you have? Do you have?
So altogether on the entire block, or you talking about the showroom where we have events?
I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about the whole facility because
Together, probably about the entire block, probably around 600, I would say, spots where we could have people sit. A lot of times they're pretty full. It's pretty awesome.
right, and it's
Always the best pub
incredible,
experience in Oregon, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
3 years in a row.
and it's pretty incredible in a community that really lacks for meeting places. And Fort George has figured out a way to both sell beer, and my favorite happens to be the fish and chips, but you know, um, uh, but it's tremendous that the number of free events that basically they sponsor. You know, there's a weekly over the summer, or excuse me, over the winter months. There's every Thursday night you can go to Fort George, walk in the door and not pay anything unless you want to buy one of their wonderful, delectable food or beverage, and attend a community meeting at no cost. And there's a sound system there. It's amazing. I mean, I think, is it now, Chris, that I think that one Thursday a month, it's the college who brings an event in. I'm there a lot for environmental events, presentations that are free, etc. And I am so charmed by excuse me. I hope my dog is doing a dance for you. I just hope that you can appreciate that entertainment comes with us when we're online. But it's very, very satisfying to have a company that is as receptive to community involvement as Fort George is. And I think this is something that I support handily.
Yeah, well said, Commissioner Webb. I echo your praise. Commissioner Thompson.
I too echo Commissioner Webb's phrase. Chris, you do us proud in every way we can think of, along every dimension. I'm absolutely for this. Just say no to skunky beer and get ready for dark arts next month.
Thanks, Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner.
Echoing the praise, but a quick question. By chance, would this create even more jobs for your facility?
It could definitely, because it's going to be, it will add some things that our brewery staff have to do to make sure you have to move hoses, hook stuff up. And there's a good chance that you're definitely going to be more hours.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can add to that. We have already started the process of transitioning one employee to more of a full-time maintenance position, and that his role will need to be backfilled. The nitrogen generation system and the CO2 recapture require a lot of preventative maintenance and repairs for downtime. So definitely require maintenance.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of ask the same question as he's, but I appreciate that. I mean, it's kind of a new territory, so you'll figure out as you go. Though one thing I'm kind of curious about, and I can take a wild guess, it probably has to do with financials and space, but in your experience, and perhaps just speculation, why haven't other breweries already in Oregon moved towards this process?
There was a company about 10 years ago that developed a system for CO2 recapture. Basically, it was using NASA technology on how they capture oxygen on spaceships, and it was just way overcomplicated, and it was 10 times as expensive. This company from Denmark, the guy who developed this company used to work for a bigger company, so breweries like Coors, Anheuser-Busch, they have systems put in place. He basically took that technology, just made it smaller for craft breweries, and so this is something that is affordable. The other ones that we've looked at, really, this company was just they developed these systems about a year ago, so it's pretty new, and it's much more affordable. I think that there'll be a lot of people who are going after these systems.
And again, you're saying the macro breweries, they do have these systems in place, so they are doing CO2 capture.
I would just like you guys to come back in a year and give an update and just see how everything's going. Not for any other reason other than curiosity and more support, because I think that, I mean, Hudson County does things our own way, and I enjoy it when folks innovate and kind of lead the charge. So I'd just be curious to see what the results are about it.
So just on the next stages of the process, so we'll be back in 2 weeks with a formal agenda item to approve the $200,000 grant. We're developing, it's a really short grant agreement. And then we'll get Chris to review that first. Your board will approve it in 2 weeks, and then that will be that. We'll be ready to move forward.
And the balance of the revolving fund, we have the $1 million set aside for Westport, but is that included in that 4.3 million, or is that in it?
That's
It is.
included.
So we have a 3.3 million.
So we have 3.3 million net available right now. So.
Okay.
And just point of clarification, we know what this fund is, but could you just give a brief description again of where these monies are coming from? And
Sure.
the purpose that they're supposed to be allocated for?
Yeah, so sure. This fund was developed back in 2000 when there was legislation that basically allowed counties to segregate proceeds from the sale of industrial property or leasing industrial property into a fund that then would then have restrictions on how it could be spent, and the restrictions were meant to facilitate additional economic growth within the industrial sector. And so it does provide a litany of things, but includes construction, equipment, maintenance. There's all kinds of things that fall within that industrial umbrella. And so this squarely falls within that. But the whole notion is when you sell or lease it, that you invest those money back into industrial development.
Yeah.
So
A tool for reinvestment.
so there's no general fund money involved. So
Thank you for that.
yeah. So
Any other questions or comments from the commission? Well, thank you both. Oh, yeah, Commissioner Walker.
Just final comment, I'll say, I really enjoy your beer. I don't drink much beer anymore, but you guys definitely have it nailed. Food's phenomenal. Every time I have family in town, it's a place we recommend as well. We like to go enjoy just the pizza upstairs and the food downstairs. You used to have a spicy chicken sandwich. Bring that back.
well, we could talk burritos too, but we won't. So.
Wait, we can't have personal gain, guys.
That's not personal. I'll pay for it.
And I just, what Commissioner Webb touched on this, but it really, Fort George is a community hub. This is a gathering place for, the county. And you guys have so many things going on there. It is a place where on Sunday nights, I know our family loves to go there and listen to the music and pizza. And I mean, it is an amazing atmosphere you've created there. And so many people like to take advantage of that. And so, we're so happy that this is the direction you're going, and you can continue to be a responsible, corporate responsibility. We talk about a lot. You guys really are that, live it in the community. So thank you.
And just one more note, thank you for your donations to Oregon Women in Timber and the Natural Resources Dinner tomorrow night. You guys, the Natural Resources Dinner is tomorrow night, but we are always so very grateful to our community support that we have in order to do that fundraiser for the kids. So thank you.
And just to say this, but there is letters of recommendation that are in the file.
Yeah, great. Thank you both.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
being here this evening.
Without this, also, on the save, it would have been a stretch. There's 15% tariffs right now on this equipment. This is gonna make it so we can just thumbs up it, green light it, and have it, we can order it. It'll come in about, if we order it by March, we can have it here. By August, I think we can get it installed and operating by the end of the year. So,
That's exciting. Yeah. Well, I'm anxious to see it in action.
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
We can't
Very
wait to show
cool.
off too.
And be a model for others. Yeah. Very
I
cool.
feel like another tour. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Evening.
Right, next item is year 26-27 proposed budget policy and budget calendar, page 6. And so, Finance Director, welcome.
Sure. Evening, Commissioners. So here we are, another year, another annual budget process. One of the first items at hand to address the board is the budget policies going into next year. This will help kind of try to inform and guide the process all throughout. If you had a chance to look at the new version, there aren't a whole lot of edits. It's pretty status quo. Budget policies, we pretty status quo budget process all throughout. All that being said, so the idea being we're not adding additional FTEs. They're still looking for opportunities for cost savings and efficiencies. We already have the CLT, the countywide, so we have a lot of things lined up going into this next year that is very, very helpful. I'll do my best to fill the 15 minutes here. Maybe we can talk about beer or something towards the end. But other than that, there wasn't anything that was really new to address in the policies for this year. I didn't know if there were any questions or kind of answers.
If I could just, I think, as I mentioned to your board previously, and so has Andy, is that, we are in a strong position right now from a fund balance perspective. But there's increasing uncertainty all the time, as you read about with the state and with federal government. And I'm going to talk a little bit about homelessness, and there's a lot of uncertainty with all levels of funding. And so we think it's imperative, I think it's imperative that we continue to be conservative as we move forward, not add new positions. I think we need to get through some more uncertainty before we can feel comfortable doing anything differently. And we still have the HCP and other things that we don't truly understand what is going to happen. So I think it's just prudent at this time to continue to do what we've been doing. And that's what is reflected in the budget policies, is status quo. Keep doing what we're doing. So.
Very good position going through next year. Yeah. Just kind of understand what we've been doing to work a lot.
Commissioner Banks?
I support continuing to just be conservative in our spending and doing what we're doing, mainly just because the outlook and watching what is happening at the state level in regards to education, potential education cuts, potential cuts in different departments. It's until we know what that looks like for us. I feel like just keep going with our savings mindset because I sense that, I would like to continue to be the county and the state that isn't screaming because we're upside down in our spending. So.
And I think something that is one of the threats, which we're actively engaged in, is the economic development piece, which we'll be coming back to your board and talk a little bit more about that in one of the upcoming work sessions. But, the two things that every county needs, and it's not a secret, is AV growth and job growth. If you're not growing, you're literally moving backwards. And so we need to generate more AV growth. And, potential projects that would do that are things that we can't we can't move forward on. And I'm talking about North Coast Business Park and some of the challenges there. I'm talking about some of the challenges down at Tongue Point. And so, I mean, we're going to be focusing heavily on how we can generate jobs and investment that lead to AV growth, because the 3% growth in AV is not going to be sufficient to meet the needs of a county that have complex service needs. We're a rural county, but we're not a rural county. And we're serving a population rate way greater than the resident population. And so I think that that's all reasons to be a little bit more muted. I mean, the one good thing, or two good things, is one, we have an amazing staff that do amazing work for the community every day, who are passionate, do more with less. And I think even the service levels that we are providing are significant. We're providing quality services to the community, so we should be proud of that. But without AV growth, we're not going to have the flexibility we need to meet future challenges. And so I would feel differently if I didn't feel like we were staffed at a level right now to provide a good service level. So I think we start at a strong position, but as everybody knows, you can deviate from that strong position really quickly. And that's what we don't want to do, because I don't want to lay people off. I don't want to reduce services and service levels. So.
Yeah, well, nothing is static. I mean, you have to adjust and you have to grow and make sure that we're looking for every opportunity that there is. I'm glad we're making economic development a real focus in 2026, because it's so necessary. And we need the state to be there with us, because most of these things that we're struggling with, I don't know what that means, but it's a party. Oh, it's a car. Wow, pretty loud. But these are,
it was Andy's.
I know.
Chair,
But, you know, these are out beyond our control, and we need to have a partnership with the state and the feds in order to make things happen. Commissioner Banks.
I was just curious about what our current unemployment rate is in Placer County, since, or do we know?
I just saw it, but I don't remember. What it was. Do you remember, Monica?
I thought somebody said 5%. Yeah.
5.2.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Thompson.
thank you, sir. To your point, and the county manager's point about AV, about assessed valuation, the Association of Oregon Counties is very active in promoting legislation that will support full CAFA funding for the assessment and taxation function. Because if we can't keep up with timely, accurate assessed valuation, again, that's another way that we fall behind. So the association is lobbying to get legislation passed that will more adequately fund with state funds, which has decreased over time the operations of our own and every county's A&T unit. So supporting and appreciating what AOC is doing to help us keep up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Thompson, are you hearing from other counties similarly about the economic development and I mean, I guess the position of the counties being in peril? Yeah.
Every day. It's President Scar's initiative is to be more aware, tuned into the actual fiscal condition of counties. AOC is conducting a study. We just passed authorization to let a contract to do a study to talk to every county all over Oregon. So we'll have data that provide information much more current for the legislature and for every constituent county. Thank you for that excellent question.
Any other comments or questions?
I'll just mention Chair, just mention real quick for the calendar, just want to make sure there's no conflicts, especially later in the year, so if anybody sees anything, especially that April, May, June area, if you see any conflicts or something.
So we're doing, next meeting, we're having the second quarter financial update. And are we inviting the budget committee to, like, to be a part of that or kind of listen. I mean,
We certainly could.
yeah,
Reach out,
I think it'd be a good idea. I know in past years we wanted to try to every quarter them kind of update it as they come along with us. So I think that'd be great.
Not gonna communicate with the committee.
Anything else? Folks have? Okay, thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. Next is Clatsop County infrastructure presentation on, oh, so page 4. Okay. Assistant County Manager Monica Steele and County Manager.
I'll go ahead and go first, and then Monica's gonna help me throughout, but so we put this presentation together. So this presentation came from the county manager's office with a lot of input. And what we're really trying to do is just tell a story of the homeless services structure that is in the county. Because I don't think everybody understands how this system works and what the different elements are. So what we wanted to do is to show the infrastructure that supports it. And then we also want to talk about services. So I'll talk really first about the fact that this is a coordinated system, but every element is not always calibrated and balanced. So the system does not always look as smooth from the outside in as it could be. And there's reasons for that. And the main reason is funding volatility. So when you look at both on the service side and on the infrastructure side, which infrastructure is shelters, affordable housing units, service side is mental health, healthcare, workforce development, substance abuse treatment. The federal government is a primary funder of healthcare, mental health, substance use treatment, and workforce development. Those are federal programs. They're all in some way being impacted by the reductions at the federal level. The state of Oregon is the primary funder for the shelter system, and they support supportive housing and affordable housing, a lot of that through tax credit financing. So the main funders of the system are the state and the federal government. The county's role is to coordinate the partners and to administer contracts with the providers. That's what our main role is. We help plan the system. We certainly advocate for the system, but we're not a direct service provider. Then there are the providers. On the service side, it's the ones that are running the emergency shelters, the ones that are, running supportive housing. On the infrastructure side, on the housing side, it's all these affordable housing developers. And so it's a cadre of folks that are working closely all the time. I mean, this is a very tight-knit group that the county is helping coordinate. And I think Clatsop County, has been recognized for the fact that we do it so collaboratively. Then there's the role of the cities. Cities are the ones that manage the public spaces within their jurisdiction. And they deal with any safety concerns. And when I say public spaces, every city decides how they're going to deal with those that are camping in the public right of way. City of Seaside does it a certain way, Astoria does it a different way, but that's a city responsibility. They have to have programs, ordinances, services to deal with the public spaces. And I'm just going to give kind of an example, but City of Seaside doesn't allow camping on the sidewalks. They have a designated camping spot that is managed by CCA. It's called Stepping Stone. And since they have that, and we also have shelter beds, they don't allow camping downtown. City of Astoria does allow camping on sidewalks downtown. There's conversations that have been ongoing with the city council to brainstorm approaches to that. And they're still in the midst of those conversations. The county's obviously also interested in those conversations because we're a primary property owner and business downtown. And so, but I think what the biggest thing is that the county, sometimes people think counties are responsible for really everything, and we aren't. We're just advocates, we're contract administrators. With Monica's leadership, we're trying to make the system function in a coordinated way. And I think we do a good job, but it's a fragile system. It's a very fragile system. Next slide. So when we talk about, homelessness, there's not one lever that public sector organizations are trying to pull. We have to have mental health, substance abuse treatment, physical health care, and workforce training, employment services. But we also know that we need housing. And so both of these have been a focus for the Clatsop County community. We have folks that have been working diligently on the service side, and Monica's going to talk about that in a little bit. And obviously, we've been working through shelters, supportive housing, and affordable housing. The fragility that I talk about, though, is that on both sides, it's primarily state and federal funding. And if that state and federal funding went away, there is no capacity for the county to backfill those losses. And there's no capacity for the cities. You would have marginal investments going into the system to try to keep a safety net, but the federal and state monies are what's keeping this afloat. So on the physical infrastructure side, we've been making a lot of progress. We have emergency shelter beds. There's been recent developed housing, and then we have housing that's in the pipeline, and we'll go through some of those. On the emergency shelter beds, Clatsop County has 202 shelter beds, which per capita is a very healthy number of shelter beds. There are all kinds. There's low barrier shelters, there's higher barrier shelters, and the shelters range from the seaside area up to the Astoria area. Not every city has a shelter. Not every city has, active programs and services to the homeless. But city of Seaside, Astoria, and Clatsop County are really guiding a lot of this work. And these are typically funded by the state through the statewide shelter program, and then there are also funds from the Behavioral Health Resource Network, which is the burn funds that we often talk about. So huge progress just in years. Some of the developments that have been going on with the permanent supportive and transitional affordable housing is the Trillium House, which is 42 units over in the city of Warrenton. It's already leased up. Iron Tribe has 15 transitional housing rooms that are in various places in the Astoria and the Gerhardt area. And then we have Hawkseye down in Seaside, which is 55 units. So these are all new developments that are already leasing and actually housing people. Then we have a bunch of other supportive and affordable housing units that are in the pipeline, and you're familiar with a lot of these, but we have 50 units in the Owens Adair 2, which may be a new name for that at some point, I'm not sure. We have the Baker building that's so close, 32 units of supportive housing there. We have Copeland Commons that is still moving forward with the idea of 64 units downtown. Pacifica is actively in construction over in Seaside. This is that piece of property that the county donated. That's moving forward. And then we have Fort Point, and we don't know exactly how many additional units will be, developed there that will be affordable, but there will be some affordable housing element to it. But if you just look at those, there's 204 plus units that are in the pipeline for affordable housing, which is significant. That for a county this size, that's a lot of housing. The one thing that is not on this is the Derigold property, which is right next to us. The city issued an RFEI. They had a handful of respondents, but there could be anywhere between 60 and probably 75 units on that property also. They just have to decide and get your board's feedback too about what the affordability, formula is going to be. There's some desire to have more workforce housing downtown. So those are the conversations the city council are going to have and then share it with the board. But that is another one that's in the pipeline. It's just not far enough through the planning process yet. But we are making significant progress. The other side that we don't talk about is the market-based side, which there are a lot of housing units being developed countywide. That's partly why we created the housing dashboard, is to capture both the affordable, supportive, and also the market-based housing. And there is housing. The board has made changes to the law to try to facilitate housing in the rural areas. The cities are trying to do what they can to generate additional housing. So, I think the story is we are doing work and we're making significant progress. And there's pipeline projects that are also going to make a difference. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the social service infrastructure, because housing's not enough. We have to have services as well. So Monica's going to take this part.
So as Dawn mentioned, we have a number of providers that we work very closely with, and we have a number of programs that we rely on those providers to work with us on. And your board has been contributing to the countywide homeless liaison position since 2020, and we contract the CCA to provide that service. We also have the deflection program, which is a combination of the sheriff's office, the DA's office, public health, CDH, and then as we continue to develop pathways to get people engaged in that program, we also have medics and the Astoria Fire Department participating in that now. To date, we've had 49 folks who have entered the program and 21 who have graduated. And so this is just another tool to help those folks. Not all people who participate in deflection are unhoused, but they do require, supportive services. The Behavioral Health Resource Network, which is also a funder, like Dawn mentioned, for some of these housing projects. We did experience cuts this fiscal year to the Burn grant, which was primarily around housing. And so again, it's a really fragile infrastructure, but Iron Tribe, CCA, and Helping Hands, and I believe CBH are all funded for housing through the Burn grant. In addition to that, we have programming and assessments and screenings and SED treatment, peer support, housing, and then harm reduction, which is provided by Public Health, CBH, CCA, Helping Hands. And so having these partnerships is critical to continued success. Most recently, your board approved the use of opioid settlement dollars for the peer mentoring services and the certified alcohol and drug counselor to be in the school districts countywide. And so right now, CBH is working actively with Astoria, Napa, and Seaside High Schools in both the middle schools and the high schools for those programs, and that's seen great success as well. Thank you. As I mentioned already, the Classic Behavioral Health Program, they have the treatment for the youth, but then our public health department also works actively in the schools as well as community-wide, focusing on primary prevention primarily, targeting the youth population, and as well as working with mentoring families to help them with just prevention all around within the homes. And then the public health department also provides the harm reduction program, because part of prevention is preventing further harm. And so they go to both Seaside, Astoria, and I believe Warrenton weekly to do the syringe exchange program, as well as the naloxone distribution, which is a critical component. And then CBH also offers a variety of treatment prevention options for the adult populations as well as youth, whether it's individual or group programming. Thank you. The medically assisted treatment program is funded as well through the burn. And then there's also other community partners who work with CBH to provide these services. And so, for example, part of the Rural Health Coalition, one of the areas of focus that they worked on in the last year and then now is up and running is working with CMH and Providence to be able to help those folks who come into the emergency room get engaged in the medically assisted treatment program. And so they work with CBH. CBH works with our jail. They have their own referral process as well with their clients. And then CODA down in Seaside also provides these services. Oops, I'm sorry, it randomly works. Okay, and so the county receives funding from the state for the for mental health and behavioral health, and so we contract with CBH to provide those services. And so these are services that the county contracts with them for, but CBH also provides these services through other funding streams. And so these are, when Dawn is talking about federal cuts, there's concerns of cuts at the state level, but then also those other programs that we don't contract with CBH for, they're under threat as well. And so we contract with them for the peer delivered services, for community behavioral health, substance use treatment, residential day treatment. We don't have, obviously, a treatment facility here in Clatsop County. And so being able to have those residential treatment services here and providing those services in home and locally is really critical, as well as being able to make sure when we are able to get people into a treatment facility that they're coming back and having those supportive services when they're back in the community. And then our public health department provides problem gambling prevention throughout the county as well. The state, that is a contract that we gave back to the state as far as the gambling treatment, because the funding level that we received was very minimal. And so we gave that contract back to the state. And then other community mental health resources, again, same thing. CBH provides these services through other funding streams as well as what the county contracts with. But those are our community mental health crisis services for both adult and children, non-residential community mental health services, assertive community treatment services, which is outpatient services, acute and intermediate psychiatric, early assessments, stabilization, peer support. And so a lot of the folks who are part of the unhoused population, CBH works very closely with CCA, Lifeboat, Helping Hands, the Harbor, helping them provide those peer support services as well to try and get people engaged in more housing focused situations. And then they're a critical partner in our jail diversion as well as aid and assist. And then they also, in addition to, as previously mentioned, the substance use treatment in the schools, they also have mental health in the schools, excluding Jewel because they contract with somebody else, but CBH still has clients in the Jewel School District. So those are we don't have a final page. Those are all of the social services that we provide that are critical in being able to combine with the physical infrastructure, but the social service infrastructure, because the permanent supportive housing aspect, that is, there's a lot of people who will forever be part of a permanent supportive housing situation. And then there's people that just kind of need need gradual help to learn how to live on their own again and live in a house situation. And so being able to have all of these services integrated and working closely through all of our community partners is essential.
So a lot to be proud of with all of this, but I just want to reiterate the fragility of the entire system and the fact that it's so dependent upon outside funding. I also want to just say that, you know, of all the capacity we built, we have changed people's lives. You know, there are as we talk to the cities, what the biggest challenge right now is that there's a certain element to the homeless population that does not want to receive services. And they have been oftentimes they have been in our facilities, meaning the emergency shelters, but they weren't successful in the shelters. And they're on the street and they don't want services. That's the population that everyone is really trying to figure out how to serve. And there's outreach to those individuals all the time. But it's a difficult population and they're not on the street because there's not room in our emergency shelters. So we do have some additional room in our shelters, but there is a population that's very, very challenging to serve. And so I just want to share that because sometimes people think that's indicative of the rest of the system not working or that the rest of the system doesn't have capacity. That's not what the case is right now. The system has capacity. We just have folks that are choosing not to participate in the system. So.
And it's too early to react to it, and I know that we're talking about it. Saw the news story that the Trump administration had canceled mental health and drug addiction up to $2 billion in federal funding terminated. And I know we have to hear from our community partners what that really means and what we can say about it this time, but it's definitely concerning. Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you, sir. Well, and yes, congratulations to staff for work well done and gratitude to our funding streams, and we hope to continue those, no doubt. When I look at the schools and I see that Jewel contracts with a different entity from Columbia County, I still hope that we are seeing program reports that reflect what's going on in Jewel because it is a part of Clatsop County and I remain committed to it. Can you clarify, please, are we getting program information about what happens through that Columbia County program that's operating in the Jewel School District?
It's part of the school-based health center and we do not receive that information. As I mentioned, Clatsop Behavioral Healthcare does still see clients in Jewel and they will be coming before your board in a couple of weeks, I believe. And so they can speak more to the clients that they're serving and the population that they're seeing there, but we do not receive reports from the provider at the school-based health center. That's a contract between the school and that provider.
Understood. It's just that we are a county government, and even if it isn't our program, I still remain interested in it. So if it's possible to get it and it's not too burdensome, I'd appreciate that. If you could give CBH a heads up and let them know that I'm very interested in what happens at Jewel, I'd appreciate that as well. And thanks again for your good work.
Sure, we will follow up, Commissioner Thompson. So.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Webb.
Excuse me. Now that we no longer have a full-time engaged staff person in the county manager's office, who has been very helpful in coordinating our programs relating to housing. Now that we no longer have that position, are we advertising to refill it?
No, Commissioner, we aren't. That position was funded with the ARPA dollars originally, and so we knew that it was going to be a termed position. And so at this point, and based upon the discussion we had as part of the budget policies is we aren't looking to expend additional general fund dollars in this next year. But what I will say is that we have distributed the roles and the responsibilities that the former employee had regarding housing to other staff. So we're still involved. We're still going to push on the affordable housing projects and still partner with the cities and with the nonprofit community. So we're still going to do that, but certainly it is a big loss, to be honest, to lose Alyssa. But we're going to have to do our best with our current resources right now, and then we'll see what the future brings once we get a little bit more clarity about our financial position moving forward.
Yeah, we do appreciate what Mrs. Webb. Go ahead, Commissioner Webb.
Would it be possible for us to know where those tasks have been distributed?
Yes, I mean, we can write something just so you know, but it is basically being distributed between myself, Monica, and Gail for the most part, so.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, I mean, we don't have a very deep team, so everything eventually comes to the same handful of folks, so, but.
Okay.
We have, yeah.
I just think it would be helpful for us to understand, exactly how those distributions. I had a lot of interactions with that previous employee, and so I'd like to know who to go to for different issues.
What I would say for all things is always come to me.
Okay.
And if I don't know, I will certainly get other staff involved. So.
Thank you.
So talking about capacity in the system, you mentioned that we are not at capacity, and I realize that, population needs ebbs and flows. But on average, how much space do we have before we need to look at expanding potentially?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't see expansion as a possibility.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no resources. I mean, the state is already looking at ways to reduce. So I don't see expansion. I think maintaining the resources that we have will be a challenge. And I think that we are, near capacity oftentimes, but not over capacity. There's always a little flexibility because there is enough diverse beds, enough diverse providers that there's usually something somewhere that is available. And sometimes more in certain types of housing options than others. And so I think the system's working well. It's being highly utilized. But a lot of folks that are really challenged with housing want a place to stay overnight and where they can have their belongings and they can have security. And so those facilities tend to be occupied and used, and they're also receiving services. I think the system's working pretty well, but it's not oversubscribed at this time, but it is full, it is active and full oftentimes. When I say full, I don't mean 100%, but 98%, 97%. But I don't see any capacity to grow. So.
I would really like to hear the success numbers of our partners. We're pass-through funding and we're providing monies. Well, it's not us providing it, it's passing through us to these other partners. I would really like to hear from these partners their success rates of rehousing folks that enter the system. And I mean, it's very visible in the community, those who do not wish to receive services. And I recognize that the city of Astoria, so on and so forth, is working to address those issues. I guess I just want to see that the monies being utilized by our partners have resulted in successes.
Yeah.
And at what rate?
We will get updated numbers, but in the last biennium, we rehoused over 200 people. And right now, Baker Building has a wait list of approximately 79 people, but they only have 32 units. And so they're going through the application process now. But to Dawn's point, and I know we have to wrap things up, you know, as we are able to move people into those housing situations, then that's going to take some of those people that have been in the housing focused shelters for a longer period of time, and then open up more beds to be able to, again, help those who want to receive the services.
Real quick, Commissioner Webb, we're gonna move to the other meeting. Go ahead.
Thank you. I guess I'm trying to reinforce. I think I could probably help you. I have done a lot of work with statistics on shall we say social services. And ultimately what our constituents want to know, it's not how many beds are available, it's how many people, how many person nights have we been able to take care of people? Because that's really the bottom line. That's the ultimate metric. And I think we need to be able to have the people we fund come up with those numbers. So thank you.
I think
We have.
we have those
Yeah,
numbers.
we have them.
Yeah. No, I agree. We're all working together. Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and move on to our regular meeting now. Just have a minute break.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
We will go ahead and go. The Board of Commissioners, as the governing body of Clatsop County, all county service districts for which this body so acts, and as the Clatsop County Local Contract Review Board is now meeting in regular session. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I guess the first item is the appointment of the chair and the vice chair for 2026. How do we do this?
Take nominations.
Take nominations? Commissioner Banks?
I nominate Chair to be chair for 2026.
Thank you.
I second that nomination.
Okay. Do we go ahead and then we have move and second? All those in favor signify with an aye.
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 Aye. Okay, all those opposed?
Aye.
Commissioner Webb?
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed, I thought
Oh, we were voting on the chair
right.
position.
I'm sorry. I didn't, maybe can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry. I must have had my thing off. No, I am a no on this.
okay, okay. And the ayes have it then, okay? And I really do appreciate, confidence that the commission has had in me. I've enjoyed working with this board and working with our county manager and staff. We've got a big year ahead, and we talked a lot about it in our work session about economic development and really what, that looks like in a evolving, environment, and working with the state as a partner rather than an adversary. And that's going to happen in 2026, and we're going to make big things happen. I do appreciate the vote of the commission. Thank you. Next is the vice chair appointment. Do we have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Bangs for vice chair.
And,
Chair.
yeah, I would second that. Okay, moved and seconded to appoint Commissioner Bangs to vice chair. All those in favor signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, the ayes have it?
Were both of them a nay?
Yes, they're
Okay.
both a nay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, congratulations, Commissioner Banks.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and can we have a roll call?
Chair Aquila,
Here.
Vice Chair Banks,
Here.
Commissioner Wakula,
Here.
Commissioner Webb,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson.
I'm here.
All right, first item is the agenda approval. We reviewed the agenda during our work session. Do we have any comments or questions, or are we ready for a motion?
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify with an aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is business from the public. This is an opportunity for anyone to give a 2-minute presentation about any item on the agenda, except for public hearings or any topic of county concern that is not on the agenda. Clerk of the board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
All right. Do we have anyone signed up to speak in person this evening?
No, we do not.
Okay. Anyone that would like to speak this evening? Nope. All right, we'll go ahead and close business from the public and move on to the consent calendar. It's a pretty lengthy consent calendar. We have any questions or comments on items on the consent calendar? Commissioner, or, excuse me, County Manager.
Chair Quiller, members of the board, I just wanted to point out that this is a revised agenda for the consent, and we do have two, I think, new items, which are items 17 and 18, which are long-awaited contracts with the state related to the long-term rental assistance funding. So we put them on at the last minute because we wanted to get them executed.
Any questions on those? Any comments? Commissioner Banks?
I just wanted to comment on, it's good to see the VOCA grant approval.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. All right, are we ready for a motion?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as presented. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to the commissioner reports. We'll start with Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you, sir. As you said, it's a big year. I've been spending a lot of time at the Association of Oregon Counties. I'm one of 5 county commissioners from all over Oregon who sit on the executive committee now of the association. And as you asked, the issue is the financial viability of counties. It's a big issue. We're working on it through the grant, but also through a variety of other efforts at the state level. The policy committees on Monday went through all of their priorities. I have that information, or it's available online, so that anyone who wants to can see what the association is doing to benefit counties all over Oregon, and it's considerable. I won't go into detail here. The Jurisdictional Transfer Advisory Committee will be meeting soon. The Association of Oregon Counties, Oregon Judicial Department Task Force on Courthouse Renovation, Remodeling, and Replacement has been meeting and will continue to meet to make recommendations to the Chief Justice of the State Supreme Court for her to take to the legislature. And just in order to remind us of the fragility of life, I would like us to take a moment to remember Lincoln County Commissioner Claire Hall, who passed away in the first week of this month. Her memorial service will be on the last Saturday of the month. Is that the 30th or the 31st? I can't remember right now, but in Lincoln City at the Hatfield Memorial Center. That's in Newport, isn't it? The Hatfield Memorial Center, thank you, in the auditorium. It's emotional for me. Claire was a long time and dear colleague. That's my report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Appreciate you mentioning that. We really do appreciate your advocacy on behalf of all counties, all these important issues. So thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Webb?
Thank you. I have spent some time with the on several AOC committees getting ready for the legislative session. And I have shared with them, of course, our publication, and we'll stay kind of in touch with them. The OCZM, the Coastal Zone Management Committee is definitely re-engaging. We had several conversations about issues that were going on. Some of the ice activity that's been going along the coast it's been very interesting to be able to share what different counties' responses are. And I would like to brag about the fact that our wonderful Sheriff Matt Phillips has been a leader, really, of the sheriffs in the state of Oregon, in both communicating with the federal government, with ICE directly, And also involving, of course, our city law enforcement folks as well. And there has been I think it's been very discouraging, especially after what happened in Minneapolis, which has become kind of the poster child now for and of course the city of Portland as well has now, yeah, and thank goodness apparently the two folks who were shot in Portland are hanging in there. And I just talked with the county manager today about, I think the issues in terms of public, in terms of especially of communicating with our citizens about how to handle this. I think that the city chiefs of police have been actively together, and I think it's been a very good response. And I think it's time that we kind of engaged our citizens in that public information campaign as well. Let's see, we've been busy. I guess that's where I think all of the multi-county organizations that I represent the county in are dealing mostly with the federal legislation that has cut so much money. And you know, it's I think that a lot of the conversations about the upcoming short session are around the issue of what's happening with all of the federal money that we usually get. And so I know we're on top of most of that, but we are talking to other counties. And I'm very pleased with the way that AOC has decided to respond. And I think it's very cool and very wonderful that we have a commissioner on the executive commission. I'm sorry that Commissioner Thompson and I were the only commissioners to attend the AOC conference this year. We haven't talked much about that. But it was a wonderful conference, and we probably have a lot of things. I haven't had a detox. That's not the right word. A conversation with the county manager to talk about some of the good information we got and some of the good conversations that we had. And I felt particularly good this year at how the conference was very, very well attended. And I was particularly pleased at the fact that that even one of the things that I like most about working with AOC is that I get to talk to people who have different political ideas than I do, but we are good friends, and we are able to have conversations that unfortunately I am very disappointed that we don't have locally. And so I find it very, very satisfying. I think that's it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Webb. And you're right to point out our sheriff, and he is well regarded amongst his peers and certainly a leader at the Sheriff's Association. So, yeah, we are very well served by our sheriff. All right, Commissioner Wakula?
No updates. Holidays kind of interfered with a lot of our liaison assignments, but yeah, I'm sure I'll have something to report at our next meeting.
Yep. Oh, thank you. Commissioner Banks?
Yeah, so the year started out pretty hot with meetings, starting with Northwest Senior and Disability Services. Everything is plugging right along with a conservative planning in regards to FTE, just as the financial outlook with all agencies are potentially going to be impacted, but services are being provided. And I unfortunately missed an open house today due to issues on the farm, but it's just really good to hear, you know, when a situation is going well. And so just sharing some good news in regards to Northwest Senior and Disability Services. Our Fair Board met last week, and we have a new chair and vice chair serving the Fair Board. Abby is our chair, and Stephanie is our vice chair, serving for the year. And they are leaning into their strategic planning and seem very excited about the strategic planning process. And so I look forward to the presentation. I can't remember when that is coming. Is it February or March? But it'll be coming towards us at some point here. And so it's fun to listen to their ideas and their thoughts for long-term planning for that facility. Tomorrow evening is the Natural Resources Dinner. So many community members and businesses have donated in order for that dinner to be put on, that the list is long, and I will be sure to bring the list to the next meeting so that I can share with folks. We had a child care update. Child care is a touchy subject right now across the nation, and so I think the child care grant program is really leaning into making sure that we are checking all of our boxes and taking care of the monies that are being distributed wisely and with good records. And so again, I love stating that this grant program is now sustained by local businesses in our community, and it is filtered through the CCR&R in order to be distributed. And we also are receiving staff support from the CCR&R in order to distribute those funds appropriately. And I will continually always celebrate that we are out of the child care desert for preschool. And I think I'm going to ask for a presentation to come in here in the near future so that you guys can also witness the growth in infant care that we have been able to achieve in Clatsop County. It would just be nice to have that in a public forum. And then I have been appointed to the SFAC committee. It's another state forest committee that meets quarterly, and it is just a combination of many stakeholders in one room talking about the plans for state forest. And so I will be attending my first meeting here, I think later this month. I enjoyed the AOC conference and being, again, appointed to serve as the Council of Forest Trust Lands and the Forest on the FTLAC committee for this upcoming year. I will be attending the Tillamook Board of Forestry session here next week on I think the 20th. So I am just hopeful with this forest management process that we continue to receive funding from our state lands. And so I will enjoy visiting with the Board of Forestry next week in that regard. And I think that is it for me for the moment. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Commissioner Bangs. It looks like the presentation from the fairgrounds on the strategic plan is going to be February 18th.
Oh,
that's great.
And one more thing. I was asked to be a speaker at the logging conference in Eugene next week. So I am going to enjoy doing that. The topic that they wanted me to discuss was impacts of the habitat conservation on county funding.
Oh, super. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Great. Real quickly, I had the opportunity to speak to the House Interim Committee on Economic Development and Small Business and Trade yesterday, and this was an invitation from the governor's office, Sarah Means, who is also presenting, along with Karen Knutson, who you just mentioned, Eugene. She's the mayor of Eugene, and then John Stark, the CEO of Economic Development for Central Oregon. But this is all concerning LC 109, which is legislative concept. I sent this out to the rest of the board. Legislative concept 109 is about the economic roadmap the governor's has proposed, and prosperity roadmap. And we had specific interest in the fast track permitting and how that affects projects, specifically projects like the North Coast Business Park in Clatsop County. Dawn did a fantastic job putting together testimony. I just had to read it, and we had a lot of comments from the committee afterwards that they totally agreed that projects like this that are smaller than the $150 million cap that they set should be included. And they also talked about the regulatory environment and how that really is the biggest encumbrance and needs to change. So I'm very hopeful that, and what I heard back from Sarah from the governor's office is that they are going to look at trying to include rural counties like Clatsop County in the legislation. They're not going to just have these large-scale projects that are $150 million or more be the focus, but it's going to be across the board and hopefully spread the wealth so other communities can enjoy that as well. So again, that was I really appreciate what our staff pulled together in a short period of time. Really appreciate that the governor reached out to us and wanted us to be a part of that conversation, and hope that we'll continue to have a seat at the table as it moves forward, because bringing the state agencies and regulators together with developers and being able to get people early talking about potential roadblocks and things that might come up, barriers to development, and finding solutions at the onset. That's what this is all about, instead of throwing up, bring me a rock, or no, bring me another rock. And that's kind of what's happened in so many cases, as we know. But as we talk about economic development, this is the first step. We need to have cooperation and coordination with our state, and we need to work closely with our cities within the county, and hopefully we'll see progress. County Manager.
Chair Quillen, members of the board, just a quick update on some of the results of that December 16th to 19th storm that I'm sure we all remember. It was a rain wind event that created landslides, damaged the roadways, the electrical grid, and obviously we had a lot of debris that the county and other public agencies were dealing with. Since that time, OEM has been coordinating with the counties, and that includes our staff, to collect the initial damage assessments. And right now it looks like the statewide damage exceeds $23 million. So OEM has requested a joint preliminary damage assessment with FEMA, and that work is scheduled to begin on January 26th. That process will include a number of counties, including Clatsop County. I'm just going to read some of the other ones just so you have a sense of kind of where the damage was experienced, but includes Baker, Benton, Clackamas, Clatsop, Hood River, Lane, Lincoln, Lynn, Marion, Multnomah County, Polk County, Tillamook, Union, and Yamhill. So another thing I just wanted to note is that, Congress is making progress passing some of their budget bills, and one of them that is being considered has the $1 million earmark for our 911 infrastructure. So we're all waiting for good news coming out of our federal lobby as that continues to move forward. Just another, and we'll be scheduling a work session, but kind of talking about economic development just a little bit more. Staff has been discussing, and we've had the opportunity to talk with Chair Quilla and with Commissioner Wakua, and we've talked with Kevin Leahy over at Cedar to really talk about how the county and the other economic development partners can work together to help implement the economic opportunity analysis that the county did, and really with a focus of how do we more proactively look at land and then look at economic opportunity on that land to generate jobs and AV, and be a little bit more aggressive about that portion, because right now we have a little bit more of a passive strategy on new economic development opportunities. And I just think the environment is going to require us to be a little bit more forward-leaning on that as we move forward. So it's just all in the conversation state, but I think there's general agreement that economic development is going to be one of the priorities for cities and the county as we move forward. So
That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, County Manager. Appreciate your work on that. And I think we'll find out by the end of the week about the $1 million. Is that what I understood that
Yeah,
bill?
yeah, we should be hearing any day now.
Yeah.
So,
That would be great news. All right, we will move to the business agenda, and first item is the fiscal year 26-27 4-H and Extension Budget Committee appointment, page 295, and Andrew Sullivan, our Finance Director. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. So we have one vacancy on the 4-H and Extension District Budget Committee. We began advertising back in September. Since that time, we've received 2 applicants. We have Thomas Ank, who recently his term just expired this past year, so he's reapplied. And then we have a new applicant, Patrick Smalley. Kind of given the nature of the budget and the nature of this committee, we wanted to see if your board would be willing to appoint one of the 2 applicants tonight. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions? Okay, we haven't had this before, have we?
No.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Webb.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last sentence that you were talking about what is that you're looking for? Just, could you repeat that sentence again?
Absolutely. I just wanted to see if the board would be willing to appoint one of the 2 applicants this evening.
Oh, one of the 2.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's what you're, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with them, but I do know, as you have, Thomas Ank has been on the committee, and that certainly is a benefit, and if he's wanting to reapply, that's a positive. Does anyone else have any comments or questions about the?
Well, I do.
applicants or
I have a,
Commissioner Webb?
yeah. It's, here we go again with our always wanting to make sure that our local districts are represented on countywide committees, and how important it is. I think it's incredible. It's also, as I believe we have real consensus about this. It is usually all things related to the fair, because it's very easy to say, well, you know, the fair that's so those sort of rural issues. Well, no, we don't want it to be. Speaking of economic development, one of the things that we all want to see is for our wonderful county fairgrounds to become a major economic driver for everybody in the county. I also have a personal interest in having some of our urban areas well represented, just because I think it's healthy culturally for the county. And so when I look at the fact that on this particular fair committee, the existing 4 folks are from District 3 and District 4, and our 2 applicants are one from District 3, one from District 4. So I think it's kind of a shame that we haven't been able to attract more, people from all districts, because I just believe so thoroughly in how important county fairs are in every state I have lived in. They're just really important. And we here, I think, are increasingly trying to make this a driver for our county. And so I just want to say that I'm sad that we don't have any more interest from some urban counties. And both of these folks look very, on the one hand, and this isn't just because because Patrick Smalley is from my district, but he's a former 4-H leader, which I think is, that's very cool. Which that means he's got on the ground experience, and the extension component of this, I also think is very important, because I think that if there's any way that we can bring extension into county policies and programs, I love to do it, because I think they're an enormously wonderful resource. And so I wish there were a way that we could have a better conversation. And what is different? One of my biggest questions is, what is different from the 4-H budget committee and the other 4-H committees?
And so, Chair Quila, Commissioner Webb, I think there's a point of clarification. For this budget committee, Fortune Extension, it's really the Oregon State University extension. It's not necessarily related to the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Oh, it
That's
just,
important.
oh,
Clarification.
Just want to clarify that.
thank you, thank you. Oh, that's wonderful.
And if-
So is this
And if I
just,
might,
well, just one more quick question. Is this just the budget committee for it?
Correct.
Correct, yes,
just for the special district,
correct,
Yeah.
4-H,
yes.
Yeah, oh,
4-H and extension, so.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I really
Oh, don't
blew
worry.
that one.
No worries, but that is an important distinction to make
And,
there.
Chair Quila, members of the board, I mean, I think what I would say too is that certainly Commissioner Webb, points out a good point that we do want to have, representation as geographically diverse as we can, especially with the budget committees, but with all committees, and that's certainly one of our goals. But historically, some of the special district budget committees have been difficult to recruit for, as you know, and so they are small per budgets, and it's not at the scope and the complexity of the county budget committee. Certainly that is one of our goals, but we have one candidate who was on it previously, and then we have a new applicant, and I think that's kind of what the question will be for your board.
No, thank you, County Manager. And yeah, no worries. Thank you, Commissioner Webb. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, sir. Just as a point of order, the agenda and the packet got a little bit out of sync. For anybody who's trying to follow along, I'm on page 359 of the packet to look at this item, because it was confusing. Just a point of information on that one. The other thing is, when I'm thinking about a budget committee, I only know 2 of those board members, but Lindsay Davis and Ed Johnson, I consider countywide kind of folk in terms of their purview, so I'm comfortable with not having someone from my particular district. And number 3, when I look at a budget committee and somebody's been a comptroller, I find that interesting at least, and maybe just compelling, not to dishonor the person who has served and who would like to serve again, but I would think a particularly appropriate skill set would be a comptroller for a budget committee. So I'm leaning in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Yeah, and I see mine's on page 295. I don't, is that?
Well, we had an amended agenda, and
Oh,
so.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's.
So it
that's the
messed up the page.
That's the confusion. Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Bay.
I'm just thinking of experience and continuity, and historically, I'm leaning towards Thomas Inc., just due to his prior service and relationships developed on the board, and discussions that they've had over the past few years. So that's my.
Leaning toward,
Commissioner Wackerle?
I didn't understand.
She said she was, well,
I'm leaning towards Thomas Inc.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Wackerle?
I was curious if there was any feedback from the current board members about preference and continuing with Thomas Inc. versus looking at the other candidate.
So we didn't inquire with the current committee members if they had a preference or not. It's really up to your board, I think.
Just curious.
Yep.
Okay.
Commissioner Banks?
And I would also cite although living here for a year is excellent, I'd cite the 21 years residency of Thomas, just being maybe he understands our 4-H extension office, potentially more thoroughly, the relationships developed with the extension agents and the discussions that can be had. Not to dissuade volunteerism to new residents, but I love the fact that somebody who has just moved here wishes to volunteer, but for a budget process for our extension that takes relationships to have conversations and thorough dialogue. I just lean towards the more experienced.
You want to make that motion?
I move that the board approve Thomas Enck to fill one 4-H and extension position that expires June 2028.
Can I make another comment?
First, do we have a second, and then you can make it?
I do second that.
Okay, second.
Second it with a comment.
Okay. Discussion.
Sorry. I think I want to acknowledge Commissioner Thompson's comment. I think that you are correct in that Patrick being controller brings a lot to the table, and I think that it would be a very valuable experience to have on the budget committee if we were in a position where there was a vacancy not already being sought after by somebody who had previously been on it. With that said, I second the motion for Thomas Enck to continue the position, but I definitely would encourage Patrick to continue application in a future budget committee, or should another position, open up. And with that, I also want to acknowledge Commissioner Webb's comment, even though it was misconstrued as far as what we were actually looking at for applicants, but I think the committee is a great thing, and unfortunately, I do appreciate the challenges we're currently facing with how are we going to kidnap future applicants and get them to apply for this thing. But for what we have in front of us, I think we have to accept the two, and I, with that, move to continue Thomas Enck in the position.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We have discussion now, and Commissioner Thompson.
Well, my colleague is very charming and compelling, so I'll go along with that. But I'll tell you, I want us to have more skilled people coming in to our volunteer pool, and I want to make welcome by appointing them. I'll go along with this one because I understand the points that are being made, but yeah, let's welcome new people and especially those with relevant skill sets. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Any additional discussion? Ready for the question? Oh, Commissioner Webb?
Yes, thank you. I think that after all my years of in government, the issue of citizen participation is huge, of course, for me. But I really love to see, and I wish I have a whole proposal that I would love to make about how to train people in citizen participation that we don't do here. And I always like to see the issue of having people give us advice on programs, people who use the programs or something, and then move on to the budget issues. Because to me, it's very, very difficult to ask a citizen, to ask anybody. I know I'm frustrated just because when we do our county budget, there are so many programs that we take a look at, and I don't know enough about those programs to feel smart. And so I've done for 4 counties actually, a process of citizen participation and education on how to kind of put people through something that stimulates their interest, but gives them also background knowledge. To me, the issue of 4-H, for instance, and extension, those are two very different programs. And to me, and they're very important programs. And so to me, I would so much more like somebody to sit on a budget committee who is not an accountant as much as someone who is familiar with the programs that they're funding. So to me, it's a process issue of good government. And this is, and both of these programs happen to be programs that I am just enormously committed to. And so I would just love to see, I don't know. And of course, we have to be careful because we can only appoint one of these people.
Right,
Right,
and we've
Andrew?
got a motion and a second, so I was gonna go ahead and, call for the question.
Yeah.
Okay,
call.
all those in favor signify with an aye.
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 For whom? I'm sorry.
Okay, the motion is to appoint Thomas Ank to fill the 4-H and extension position that expires June 2028. Okay. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Just a comment.
Commissioner Banks?
I was curious in the discussion if there's a way for us to earmark folks that are applying for positions of volunteer positions within budget committees in county service situations, to ear tag them for future reference as a potential to fill other committees, because the volunteer spirit is one to be welcomed, and to both Commissioner Thompson and Commissioner Webb's points, they're positions that are hard to fill sometimes. And so is there a way that we can, okay, excellent, thank you.
No, I agree. We need good volunteers, and
Yes.
appreciate this applicant, and we'll move on to the next item, which is the Planning Commission bylaws updates on page 299. I guess it's actually an updated page number. What's the page number?
360.
360. All right, Gail Henriksen, Community Development Director, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Good evening and Happy New Year. And I want to thank Andy for setting up my item, because he's given me a great segue talking about boards and recruitment. Back in the 2025 legislative session, the legislature adopted House Bill 3136, which revised ORS 215.030, and that's the section of the statute that identifies the composition of county planning commission members. And so in our bylaws, a lot of that language is copied straight out of the Oregon revised statutes. What House Bill 3136 did was to remove the prohibition against having 2 or more members of the planning commission engaged in the buying, selling, or developing of real estate for profit. And that only applies if your planning commission is 5 members or larger, and ours is 7. So the Planning Commission did review these changes, or this change, in October and December of last year. They voted on December 9th unanimously to have your board recommend the changes as presented. We also, since the bylaws haven't been updated since 2022, corrected some code citations and just made a few small grammatical corrections. So I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Any questions? Commissioner Thompson?
Well, not a question, sir, but a comment. This makes good sense to me. I think it adapts to changing circumstances, and I think it still protects the integrity of the process. So if you're looking for a motion, I'm happy to move that we adopt these changes. I don't know what it would take, but I'm for it.
Okay. That's a motion? All right.
Second.
Second? Moved and seconded. All right, moved and seconded to adopt the updates to the Planning Commission bylaws as presented. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
If anything is being said, I can't hear it.
I can not hear anything.
No, Mr. Chair, there's no audio for the online participants.
Are you able to hear us now?
Can you hear? You can?
Can hear you now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. All right, County Council, do you want to go ahead and
Reread it?
read it again?
Had to be the longest one ever, too. This is ordinance number 25-08 in the matter of an ordinance repealing and replacing Clatsop County Comprehensive Plan Goal 16, estuarine resources, and Goal 17, coastal shorelines, and Goal 16 and 17, background reports, amending Law Act Article 1, introductory provisions, Law Act Article 4, zone regulations, Law Act Article 6, environmental and resource protection, and adopting the Columbia River, Yakanicum, and Ecola Creek estuary maps, coastal shoreline maps, Columbia River estuary sub-area maps, and repealing and replacing the shoreland overlay.
Thank you, County Council. And David Cook, Planning Manager, can we have the staff report?
Good evening, Chair Wheeler, members of the board. Apologies for the word soup, that is the ordinance title. We'll try and make it a little easier to understand from here. For the record, I'm David Cook, Planning Manager for the Clatsop County Community Development Department. I'm really excited to present on Ordinance 2508, which is an update to the county's comprehensive plan goals 16 and 17. Ordinance 2508, if adopted, would conclude the county's efforts to update all 18 of its comprehensive plan goals, which is a project that started back in 2019. Staff last brought this item to your board on April 16th, 2025, which was near the end of our public outreach phase of the project. Since then, we've been formalizing new language into the goal documents, preparing digital maps, and coordinating with the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development staff to ensure that our update meets any state-mandated requirements. Just to recap a little bit, Goal 16, estuarine resources, covers the aquatic areas of the county's 3 estuaries, which are the Columbia River, the Yakanicum, and Ecola Creek. Goal 17, coastal shorelands, covers the land areas directly adjacent to these 3 areas, and it also covers some of our coastal lakes. Goal 16 and 17 work in tandem to cover 3 really broad topics, which are the protection of the natural environment in our estuaries and shorelands, the protection and support of new and existing public access areas such as boat launches, docks, and other recreation opportunities, And finally, it offers protection for areas which are especially suited for water-dependent developments, right? Areas where it would make sense to build something because you need access to the water in order to use it. With this project, we're excited to have a more concise and modern document to utilize. The current Goal 1617 document itself is over 400 pages long, kind of poorly organized, and it's missing some updates that had been made in subsequent ordinances, meaning that as staff, we would sort through a variety of documents to make sure that a project was meeting all of the criteria of the adopted policies. The other big thing that we're excited about with this ordinance is the digitization of our estuary and shoreland maps. Right now, staff rely on paper maps, which work, but there's issues that arise because these paper maps aren't readily available to the general public. And they're also older models of our estuaries, which can shift around, especially the Columbia River is a dynamic area. Things change. It's just nice to have some updated maps. Over the course of this project, staff worked with the Columbia River Estuary Study Task Force for their expertise in the Columbia River estuary especially. We hosted 5 meetings of our Technical Advisory Committee to obtain expert opinions for our proposed goal update, and we hosted 3 in-person and 3 virtual meetings with the general public to understand our citizens' areas of interest and what their concerns may be. Our proposed policies in this ordinance reflect the discussions that we had with all of our stakeholders. So included in your agenda item, which I apologize for the length, is proposed Goal 16 and 17, their policy documents, and their background information document. There's also proposed amendments to the Clatsop County's Land and Water Development and Use Code that are needed in order to reflect the policies included in the goal document. There's a series of digital maps, which are just a demonstration of the digital data that we're going to be using for mapping moving forward upon adoption. And lastly, there is a table of the policies at the very end of this agenda item that pulls out just all of the policies from the goal document and breaks it down into shall versus should language, whether the policy is a mandate or if it's voluntary, and whether it's existing or a new policy. So I'm here to assist your board if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Do we have any questions for the planning manager? Not seeing any?
Wait.
Oh, Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you, sir. It's actually not for the planning manager, it's for county council. I'm the Land Conservation and Development Commission's coastal commissioner. I'm the liaison to the Goal 17 RAC. I assume that I am allowed to function in that capacity on that Rules Advisory Committee on this issue and participate in the discussion and vote as a Clatsop County Commissioner. Is my understanding correct? I want to be on the ethical up and up.
Well, I appreciate the question, Commissioner. Yeah, there's no ethical issues here, and you can participate in the vote.
Okay, good. Well, because in terms of a discussion, this is a formidable body of work. Now, I've looked at it. I don't know that I understand every single thing. I don't know if I have bandwidth to listen to every single meeting or go over every single note. Is there a way you can help me as a, I mean, I'm interested in this. It's geographically in my district. It's my subject matter responsibility and obligation. Holy cow. How do I understand all of this to be an effective questioning you and voting? Can you help me with that a little bit? Maybe not.
Commissioner Thompson, through the chair. Yeah, I understand the ordinance is really lengthy. You know, maybe the saving grace is we're not looking for a vote on adoption at this meeting. We're looking to continue this public meeting until your January 28th hearing. So if that gives you sufficient time to prepare questions specifically for us that we can help address at that meeting, I think that would be a great opportunity to do so.
I'll be telephoning you to help me formulate my questions in a way that further the discussion in an efficient and effective way. Because the language is readable, there's just 500 pages of it, you know? Okay, thank you, sir.
And Chair Quillen, if
County
I
Manager.
might, Chair Quillen, members of the board, what I would suggest, Commissioner Thompson or any, commissioner, is that feel free to reach out to staff and have those conversations. Staff can certainly provide an overview, help you with your questions, but also be able to then respond back on at the next hearing with those questions and with those answers.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Thank you, County Manager. Commissioner Webb?
I have the same concerns. I think that one of the hardest parts, I have a master's degree in urban and regional planning. All right, I've got 50 years of work in this, and when I go through, it, just as we were talking about earlier, is what should a planning commission membership be composed of? But when it comes to, and actually now I am I'm now our liaison to CREST. There is so much technical stuff here. And I think this is always an issue in planning. This is always an issue. You go out and you hire experts, okay? They're consultants or they're in this case.
Commissioner Webb, sorry to interrupt. Do you have a question? Because we do have the public hearing that we need to open. Is this a question that you have for Planning Manager? My apologies. Do you have a question?
I think you owe me an apology for that, so I'll accept it, and I'll withdraw my question.
Did you have a question?
Oh gosh, here I am again, trying to talk to my fellow commissioners about concerns that I have, about things that we're considering. So, as usual, you can cut me off.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing on ordinance 25-08. Does any commissioner have a conflict of interest to report? And Commissioner Thompson, you already clarified that with County Council. Clerk of the Board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
Are there any members of the public signed up to speak in person?
No, there are not.
All right, do we have any responses from staff or anything else you would like to add?
Nothing I'd like to add except to invite any member of your board to reach out to our staff directly, and we can help answer any questions you may have about the content of the ordinance. In fact, I could send out the first email to your board members to invite that discussion.
Thank you very much, David.
Thank you.
All right, I will now close the public hearing on ordinance 25-08, and we have a suggested motion that we continue the public hearing. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Banks.
A comment first and then a motion. I just want to comment that I appreciate the strike-through document provided, showing the changes. I move we continue the public hearing on this matter to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we continue the public hearing on this matter to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All right, all those opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. Okay, one, Commissioner Webb is opposed. All right, we'll move on to our next our next public hearing on ordinance 25-16, Law Duct Legislative Amendments, page 709. This is the time set for a public hearing on ordinance 25-16. County Council, may we have the first reading by title only?
This is ordinance number 25-16 in the matter of an ordinance adopting amendments to the Clatsop County Land and Water Development and Use Code to address legislative updates pertaining to land use regulations.
Thank you, County Council. All right, David Cook, Planning Manager. Do we have a staff report?
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you. David Cook, once again, for the record. Ordinance 2516 is our regular annual update to the county's land use ordinance to ensure consistency with any new requirements that have been passed by the Oregon State Legislature in their 2025 legislative sessions. Couple of highlights in this ordinance include the removal of a requirement for accessory dwelling units in the unincorporated county where previously many accessory dwelling units would be required to be constructed out of a more expensive fire-resistant material, even if the property were not located in a high fire risk area. So the ordinance now allows ADUs to be permitted without this additional fire-resistant material, so more like a standard dwelling in that way. Another highlight is code language has been added to many zones that allow child care centers to be permitted in existing schools, religious institutions, and community centers through a more simple permitting process than what we currently have on the books. For Ordinance 25-16, in addition to these code updates to address state legislation, there's also a few proposed corrections to our code, primarily to fix a couple minor errors that occurred with recent code amendments. Just for example, this is one I made. There's an error in our code language for the beach and dune overlay, which is primarily in the Clatsop Plains area, that would require a property owner to acquire a geologic hazard report in order to develop their property, even if they were not otherwise in a geologic hazard area, which is obviously not something we want to require. So staff's available for questions.
All right. Thank you very much, David. Do we have any questions of staff? Commissioner Banks?
No question. I just want to make note that I wholeheartedly am happy to see the child care ordinance amendments for opening facilities. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on ordinance 25-16. Does any commissioner have a conflict of interest to report? Not seeing any? Nope. Clerk of the board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
All right, are there any members of the public signed up to speak in person?
No, there are not.
All right, do we have anything else to add, David?
Not at this time, Chair.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing on ordinance 25-16. And we have suggested motion to continue the public hearing. Do we have that motion?
I move we continue the public hearing on this matter to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded that we continue the public hearing on this matter to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is ordinance 26-01, and Vance Swenson, County Surveyor, and Anthony Pope, County Council, will be presenting on this. This is the time set for a public hearing on ordinance 26-01. County Council, may we have the first reading by title only?
This is ordinance number 26-01 in the matter of an ordinance amending Clatsop County Code Section 3.08.021 subsection A and ordinance 85-26.
Thank you, County Council. All right, Vance Swenson, County Surveyor, can we have a staff report?
Yeah, good evening, Chair Quila, members of the board. My name is Vance Swenson, the County Surveyor. Today, we're obviously bringing before you an ordinance amending the county code to increase the fee charged for recording land-related deeds from $10 to $30 to better support operational costs for the Public Land Corner Preservation Fund. The goal of this fee increase is to fully recover costs to support rehiring one full-time survey technician to perform those statutorily required land corner preservation activities. During last year's state legislature session, House Bill 3175 was passed, which basically removed a statutory cap limiting that fee that's collected on each land-related deed to $10. That cap was put in place in 1985. At that time, the Clatsop County Board of Commissioners adopted an ordinance to collect the full $10. So with that House bill passed, that removed that limit of only charging $10, and it allows for each county board of commissioners throughout the state to set a fee that's more in line with local needs. So for us in Clatsop County, the current program expenses, we calculated those, and we basically just added an additional full-time employee back into the budget, and that gave us a number of going from $10 to $30, which coincidentally is just about exactly what the buying power of $1985 would be today. And that would allow us to fully reinstate one and fully fund one survey technician position. I brought this to the board during the December 3rd work session. I just wanted to thank you all again for your time and patience listening to half hour, 45 minutes about public land corners. So with that, if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, thank you, Vance, and Commissioner Banks.
I just want to read one sentence that I felt very much explained why we're doing this, and it is, it more accurately reflects the inflationary cost increases over the past 40 years and would fully fund the reinstatement of one full-time survey technician position. So I feel like we've gone 40 years without an increase, and I would have expected the increase to be more than that, but I am appreciative that it's not. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Commissioner Thompson.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to Vance for all his good work inside Clatsop County and at the state legislature. The AOC Governance, Revenue, and Economic Development Committee was solidly behind him to maintain our grasp on reality when we're dealing with the physical world and surveying, which is the foundation of any kind of economic development. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Wakua.
Yeah, Vance, I just want to thank you for everything you do. I did have maybe one piece of, constructive criticism.
Sure.
And in speaking to constituents in the assessing of new fees as things come along, constituents tend to be shell-shocked when things take 30 years to reassess and go, why wasn't this done sooner? Now, I agree, this increase is small. Maybe moving forward, try and maybe reassess those needs a little bit more frequently, just because people look to critique those things as to why we're not reassessing that a little bit more frequently. So that's all. But otherwise, yeah, I have no problem with this at all, as we discussed previously.
Yeah, point very well taken, and it was something our statewide surveying group struggled with, just getting in front of the legislature for way too long. It should have been done 20 years ago. Having that cap on there just strangled that fund down to almost nothing. And so I really was supportive of going with removing the cap instead of, there was some talk and strategizing about just raising the cap to $30, but that, just as you astutely point out, we're going to be back in with the same problem in another 10, 20 years. So
yeah,
the way the legislature was passed, removing that cap, now going forward, we can just incrementally increase it as needed or decrease it. And so it gives us a lot more flexibility.
And it's probably important to note, it's not that we didn't want to raise it. No. We were statutorily bound to not raise it. And
right.
So until you had to go to the state to actually get that changed.
If I might, Chair, Quidla, members of the board, is that now that the cap on the rate is actually removed, this will fall into our regular fee setting process, which we
Perfect.
we assess fees on an annualized basis so that we're not in a position that we are behind and then we have to make a big jump forward. And so this will fall within that process now, which I think will be better for everybody. So.
And sorry, the way I worded that may have been confusing. I wasn't
No,
saying that you haven't done this or didn't want to do it.
I wasn't taking the wrong
Obviously,
way
like
at
you
all.
were stuck, a few decades ago, but I think just proactively moving forward and knowing that this is the plan, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's great. Commissioner Banks?
I just want to make a note of appreciation that it follows along the line of the theme that we have been trying to establish of increasing to care for costs, no more, no less. And I just appreciate that out of staff, that we are accounting for costs, no more, no less.
All right, any other questions, County Surveyor? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on ordinance 26-01. Any commissioner have a conflict of interest report? Seeing none. Clerk of the board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
Okay, are there any members of the public signed up to speak in person?
No, there are not.
All right. Vance, anything you want to add?
No, just thank you for your patience and time with this process. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Thanks so much. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing on ordinance 26-01. And do we have a motion to continue this?
I move we continue the public hearing on this matter to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time.
I second.
Moved and seconded that we continue the public hearing on this matter to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. We seem to have lost Commissioner Webb. Did she drop off or did we?
No, she's on camera. I mean, she's there, but she's got her audio and camera off.
Oh, okay. All right. She's with us.
Yep.
Next, ordinance 25-15
I'm
to
sorry.
amend section.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Commissioner Webb. Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Please, I'm sorry.
No, we got you. Thank you, Commissioner Webb. Ordinance 25-15 to amend section 1.1 of Administrative Code, which is page 753. This is the continuation of a public hearing on ordinance 25-15, and we have the second reading by title only, County Council.
This is ordinance number 2025-15 in the matter of an ordinance amending Clatsop County Code Section 1.04.010, list of established county departments.
All right. Thank you, County Council. And County Manager, do we have anything additional?
No, Chair, with the members of the board, the first public hearing was held on December 10th. And fundamentally, this ordinance amends section 1.1 to just update the list of recognized county departments and to make a couple of other updates and clarifications. So I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, County Manager. Do we have any questions from the board? No questions? All right. Clerk of the board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
Okay, Clerk of the board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak in person?
No, there are not.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we have a suggested motion to adopt ordinance 25-15 as presented. Do we have that motion?
I move to adopt ordinance 2515 as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 25-15 as presented. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next and last, ordinance 26-03, annual STR cap update, page 757. Gail Hendrickson, Community Development Director.
Yes, thank you again, Chair and Commissioners.
Well, I got to go through the script. I jumped ahead. This is the time set for a public hearing on ordinance 26-03. County Council, may we have the first reading by title only?
This is ordinance number 26-03 in the matter of an ordinance amending Clatsop County Code Title V, Business Regulations, Chapter 5.12 and 5.24, to update the short-term rental cap limitation.
Thank you, County Council. And now, Gail Henriksen, Community Development Director. Can we have the staff report?
Yes, thank you again, Chair and Commissioners. It's been almost a year since you adopted Ordinance 2419 that established the caps for the short-term rental units. As part of the adoption of that ordinance, there was language included in our code that requires the Community Development Department to update the numbers annually in the tables, and that's being done to capture new development that's occurred in the capped areas, because then that impacts the potential cap and could increase it as development occurs and there's more houses. That 10% level is going to rise. So we've worked with GIS and assessment and taxation, and I really want to thank both of the staff in those departments because they did a great job pulling these numbers together. And I also just want to point out that just a couple of things. You'll notice that before the ordinance was adopted and became effective, there were applications that were in the pipeline. So the numbers that were included in the cap table in the ordinance from last year, those numbers may, in some cases, for example, Arch Cape, be higher because there were pending applications that were in the pipeline before this became effective. But since the ordinance has been in effect now for a year, that's not going to happen again because the caps are now established. There's no new applications coming in. The other thing to note is that we did round up when the number was 0.5 or more, and we rounded down when it was less than 0.5. There hasn't been a lot of change. We had all total 20 new dwellings built in the cap areas. The total number of STRs that could be permitted increased by 3. So it's not huge changes in the numbers, but it is important that we keep it up annually. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail. Do we have any questions? Commissioner Banks?
Thank you for not breaking any mathematical rules. I appreciate it in your rounding.
Any other questions?
I think I have.
Commissioner Webb? Commissioner Webb?
I think I have one. As we went through the STR process, I was wondering how we were going to deal with incoming information about what was happening. And here we are. So it would be awfully cool, but I don't know. And help me understand this, because this was, I mean, this was an ordinance that we just passed this year, right? I mean, it's 2603. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is another issue I have actually with, I'm sorry, with the way that we do our agendas, which I often actually get complaints from citizens about how to read our agenda. And
Is this about, are you asking a question about this item or the agenda
Yes.
as a whole?
Well, there I go again. Sorry. The question is, how are we going to, in the future, deal with these reports? Or since there's no pipeline, hopefully, right, after this won't be relevant? That's my question, Gail.
That's the question.
Okay, I'm sorry, Commissioner Webb, I didn't understand the very last part of your question.
Oh, okay. No, I was wondering, as we put through this ordinance, that the we're talking about an annual cap update, and I would rather receive an annual cap update prior to, I mean, how is the ordinance different from the cap update?
So the ordinance is updating the tables that are in Title V of the Clatsop County Code. And so when your board adopted the caps, we had to quantify what that 10% number would be for each district. And
Oh.
so we put that into the code, and so now as we update the code annually after the tax roll is certified, we need to amend the code to update those numbers as well. And the reason we had it, staff preferred it to be in the code, is simply to make sure that it is maintained. We've had instances where things get taken out of code and tables don't always get kept up, and so this was just a way to ensure that we kept those annual numbers updated annually, because the short-term rental, I'll say market is just very,
very hard.
It's an
Yes.
important piece of our economy, so.
Absolutely. Okay, so is there a way then that we could, gosh, maybe shame on us? Maybe we shouldn't have written the code that way. Maybe we should have said, the statistics have to come to us, at which point, well, no, but the STR cap update is this is the code, right?
This is,
This is the code.
This is what I'm not understanding. Okay, and so
Yeah.
you are simply bringing us a report.
The updated numbers. Yep.
So I guess,
It will be, Commissioner Webb, it's a report in a way, because it captures the number of short-term rental permits that we have active, and then it captures the some of the housing growth that we have as well, and then it increases the caps as the housing growth increases. And so, I mean, maybe titling it STR cap update was not perhaps the best title I could have chosen, but really all that we're doing is updating the caps numbers to reflect the new certified tax roll.
yeah, it's interesting because I guess I'm not used to these kinds of things be put into ordinance. You know, I'm accustomed to ordinance include some kind of a process, but then not, which then goes after a consideration and then becomes a decision. Because are you, does this ordinance 2603, I just see it as an update. And you're not asking us to do anything with this information. Am I right?
What we're asking, Commissioner, is that ultimately after the second public hearing that your board approve this ordinance so that we can formally adopt the new cap numbers for the short-term rentals.
Wow.
I think we can, we do have another public hearing on this, so Commissioner Webb, if you have additional questions, you can ask them in between. Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you. This is a little bit of a different way to do things, but I understand with the high visibility and the high heat associated with these data and this regulation, that making it visible in the interest, I would call it, of transparency and accountability. I don't usually talk like that, but I think it highlights it and assures everyone that we are doing things in an ethical, accurate way. So I appreciate that. I see it as a form of adaptive management. I'm comfortable with it. I don't know if part of what this ordinance update could or should do might include data on complaints. And maybe it's a totally separate item, but I know that there was some concern in the community that having this many short-term rentals would result in more problems in the community. So I just like to have that considered by staff and either brought up as a separate issue or included in our discussion next time. But I would like to look at the data and reassure the community that we are considering the impact on neighborhood livability with this ordinance. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Banks?
I was just acknowledging that I appreciate that it sounds like this will be a yearly update. and we will every year update this ordinance in regards to the new caps.
Correct.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to open the public hearing on ordinance 26-03? At this time, I'll open the public hearing on ordinance 26-03. Does any commissioner have a conflict of interest to report?
Yes, as previously disclosed, I manage a short-term rental within Clatsop County, due to which I will be recusing myself for potential conflict of interest in this discussion and vote.
Thank you, Commissioner Wakua, and have it noted that Commissioner Wakua is recusing himself and not participating in the discussion of the vote. All right, Clerk of the Board, are there any members of the public signed up to speak remotely?
No, there are not.
All right, are there any members of the public signed up to speak in person?
No, there are not.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on ordinance 26-03, and we have a motion.
I move we continue the public hearing on this item to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time.
I'll second. All moved and seconded that we continue the public hearing on this item to our January 28th, 2026 meeting and conduct the second reading at that time. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And one abstain.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gail.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we got. We'll go ahead and adjourn this evening. Have a good night. See you soon. Thank you.